is the Fusion Factor.
Hello, my name is Justin Oldham, and I'm the creator of AC After Collapse, the post-apocalyptic role-playing game. In this very brief YouTube episode, I'd like to say a few things about the personal protection equipment source book for this game. In my opinion, this is one of the most complicated portions of the game, other than the basic rules themselves, or quite possibly the gadgets, devices, and electronics book, which is discussed in a different episode. Whether it's books, movies, or television, the post-apocalyptic genre is famous for many things, and one of the most iconic features throughout all post-apocalyptic role-playing games is the armor and weapons that are so often featured in these things. And because all of this has a Cold War origin, the armor that's depicted almost invariably begins with helmets, vests, and those bug-eyed gas masks that you've seen in a lot of old pictures. What we've done in the PPE source book is to showcase most of, but not all of, the major forms of armor that will be enshrined in this game system. And we start with helmets and vests, and we start with the simpler hazard mask type things, which are akin to the more traditional gas masks you're familiar with. We'll transition through integrated armor types and include various forms of unpowered segmented armor in there. And in addition to all of this, you'll get more of the backstory material behind what causes the collapse, how the AI revolt factors into it, and why the game's armor point system matters the way it does. One of the things we've tried to do throughout the architecture of this game is to model the durability of items, objects, and equipment. And some of this is very flexible, but the rest of it is intended to be entirely intuitive. We've got a system of armor points and structure points that can be assigned to things. And just to be simple about this, structure points you can almost think of as traditional hit points for items. They're subtracted on a one-to-one basis. The armor point system in general is an aggregate. All of the items you have on your person that have armor points, you total them up. This gives you a total armor point number. And when the bad guys whack you, any randomly generated damage is compared to that with other factors in mind, which include high velocity damage, low velocity damage, energy-based attacks, etc. These are all things that are common characteristics in a wide variety of role-playing games, post-apocalyptic, fantasy, etc. Now, because we have included the use of micromolecular fabrication systems and recycling technologies, we've also included basic and advanced skill architectures that will allow post-collapse characters and NPCs to make this stuff if they can find the technologies to do so. I know what you're thinking, and the answer is yes. That does mean that players would have the opportunity to have their characters design variants of all of this stuff. So if you want more of something or less of something, there's a whole system of attributes in all of this that functions as a point of bonuses and penalties. There are temperature factors in there to take into account the problems of heat and cold. And all of this is designed so that the pre-collapse equipment you find is valuable, but it's also a finite resource, because as your armor point values are exceeded, some piece or another of this equipment is damaged along the way, which means wear and tear will eventually deprive you of all of it eventually. I do understand that that's a lot to take in just as a brief thumbnail glance at this whole thing, but I didn't want to put anybody to sleep, and I'm sure that you have plenty of things you need to be doing right now. So thank you for your time, and have a good day.
You've been listening to The Fusion Factor, brought to you by Shadow Fusion Books. Find us online at shadowfusionbooks.com.